I've tried to make this video several times, and every time I do it, I don't know really what to say because I am flabbergasted and mind blown by what just took place. So I'm going to cover a whole lot in this video, but the moral of the story is Kevin Durant got traded to the Phoenix Suns, and I'm very triggered by it. I would imagine 80% of NBA fans are triggered by it. I would imagine everybody's triggered by it because they think this is a super team. So I'm going to give my perspective and opinion on this trade, and I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of spoiler. I do not think this is a super team. That is kind of a bit of a spoiler, but if you don't know, I used to make videos a long time ago, and I am so ecstatic and have a lot of opinions on this, and I don't feel like tweeting them all, and I don't really have anywhere to post it. So I'm like, I'm going to make a video about this, and, you know, if I make more videos in the future, I make more videos in the future. Hopefully I make money off of it. But anyways, so if you've been living under a rock, Kevin Durant, in the offseason, asked to get traded to either the Miami Heat or the Phoenix Suns. And it was kind of stupid to get asked traded to the Heat because literally, he would literally go in there to play with Jimmy and Bam. Or Bam. Because probably they wanted to give up. That was the whole thought process. Because the Nets, they wanted picks and players. And let's just face it, the Heat don't have picks. So I'm not going to talk about the Heat anymore. That's the end of it. So I'm doing a lot. I've got notes for this. They're very crappy notes, but I do have notes for this there's just high points that I want to hit. So again, like I said, this is going to be a long video, and I got a lot of opinions to give out. So my thoughts on the trade. So the Phoenix Suns gave up Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and 4 first-round picks. I don't have the years. Don't think they're that important. They kind of are important, but I'll get to it. For Kevin Durant and TJ Warren, who does not have that big of a contract and was probably not coming back in the offseason. And so that is a crazy deal. So my notes are pretty much the lineups for the Nets and the Suns. So my main problem with this is that the Nets really wanted great players and a lot of picks. And I was kind of thinking, there's not really that many teams that have a lot of picks and how many are eligible or great players. So in my opinion, the Nets got a great player and a lot of picks. And I like Cam Johnson. In my opinion, he's a good player. I have no clue what the Nets want to do. I imagine they do not want to tank or be a bad team because they do not have their own picks due to the James Harden trade that did not work out. But I will admit, they got a pick for Kyrie Irving. They got 2 picks for James Harden, and they got 4 for Kevin Durant. So when I'm looking around the league at teams that hypothetically could have traded for Kevin Durant, with giving them great players and picks, I have like no less than 5. The Thunder could have gave them good players and a lot of picks. They have like 20 plus. The Raptors have their picks and have great players. So why they didn't really go with the Raptors, I don't know. Like again, I don't know who or what was called. Looking at again, let me look. The Pelicans have great players and have a boatload of picks. I will admit, kind of glad they did not give them to the Pelicans. And then kind of my main reason to why I am triggered, the Memphis Grizzlies, who have great players and their picks. So, but when I look around the rest of the league, it's either they don't have great players to give up or they don't have picks. So, for example, Cleveland don't have picks because they traded for Donovan Mitchell. The Mavericks don't have picks because they traded for Porzingis, Kyrie. Atlanta don't have picks because they traded for DeJounte Murray. The Kings, they got picks, but like I don't think any deal. You know, I'll throw the Kings into that boat, but I don't really know what Brooklyn would have wanted. I mean, the moral of the story is I don't know what Brooklyn wants to do because this team definitely is not a title contender team. Also, I think it makes the Kyrie trade look worse because allegedly they wanted Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney because the Lakers and Suns offer was not good enough. And to be fair, I understand they didn't want to trade him to the Lakers because they felt that would hurt their title chance. No. Maybe back up. They want to trade Kyrie to the Lakers because they didn't want to give Kyrie what they wanted because he was such a headache. Where Kevin Durant is very weird because Brooklyn and Katie did not ever have any problems until this offseason. And I guess Brooklyn feels like they have a bond and connection to KD. They did right by trading him to the team he wanted to go to. And like I said, they got a great player, Mikal Bridges, back, and they got 4 picks. But I felt that what they wanted in the offseason, they wanted double that. And they just settled. That's kind of the main reason I'm triggered is from Brooklyn's point of thing. A, you should have took the Phoenix offer for Kyrie, because then you would have Chris Paul. And I feel that some team would have gave you a first-round pick for Chris Paul. That's just my opinion. Because allegedly they offered Chris Paul and Jay Crowder and 2, maybe 3 picks for Kyrie. The Lakers offer, again, I understand they didn't want to do it with the Lakers because they didn't want to give Kyrie what he wanted because it's such a headache for him. So I can understand that offer. But allegedly they offered both picks as well. And then the only other team I remember, besides the Mavericks, is the Clippers. I think they only included 1 pick. So maybe they knew all along they were going to trade KD to Phoenix. I feel that was stupid for them to do that. It's just, I don't know. We're going to get a lot more in the morning after this is already uploaded and done with. But I just don't really know. I'm very I'm mad because Brooklyn, we've been thinking all along they were going to want a lot more for KD. That just wasn't really the case. They, I feel, got fleeced in this. That being said, I really enjoyed, this is going to be such a weird, swerve, but, I really enjoyed that 2018-19 Brooklyn team that gets brought up all the time on Twitter. The year before Kyrie signed there. With D'Angelo Russell, Joe Harris, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, and, of course, Jared Dudley. This team reminds me of that, just because there's not a superstar or an all, I will confront the elephant in the room, but there's not, one player on this team that stands out. It's just a bunch of great players, and they are going to be there for the vibes. So, I've got the team wrote down. The main playable players. Spencer Dinwiddie, Cam Thomas, Durant Finney-Smith, Nicholas Claxton, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Jay Crowder, who they are already shopping, Cameron Johnson, Royce O'Neal, Patty Mills, Yuta Watanabe, and of course, like I said, the elephant in the room, Ben Simmons. This team reminds me of that because, like I said, this team, I don't expect them to make it far in the playoffs. I definitely think they can make the playoffs. I definitely think that. And like I said, they're just going to be there to ruin stuff and to vibe with each other. I don't think Ben Simmons has any value. I don't think Ben Simmons fits what I'm describing with this whole vibes situation. So who really knows? They got a lot of terrible players. They got great, if I was them, I'm keeping Dinwiddie. I'm keeping Joe Harris. Just because they are technically your longest tenure. I know Dinwiddie wasn't there for 2 years or 1.5 years now, but they're your longest tenured people. Cam Thomas has 3 straight 40-point games and is a bucket. And the whole thing was, can he do this with Kevin Durant coming back? Is he going to be able to score that much? Well, Kevin Durant's not coming back, so he's going to be able to score that much. Dorian Finney, who you could probably get first. You could get a lot for Dorian Finney, but I'd prefer he stay there. Nicholas Claxton, who is second in Defensive Player of the Year. You know who first is. You'll get to it. Seth Curry, I would probably trade because he has value, because he's a sniper and he's an expiring. So I would trade Seth Curry. Jay Crowder, do not even let him get on the plane to Brooklyn. Trade him immediately. I like Jay Crowder. What he did this year was kind of crazy. And 100% does bother me that they're able to trade Jay Crowder pretty much for Kevin Durant. And then Cam Johnson, they're probably going to extend. So they have a lot of tradable players. And they also could be, like I said, a team based on vibes and be a good team that can make the playoffs, but are not making it far. And like I said, I don't think Ben Simmons has any value. I don't think they could trade Ben Simmons. This team definitely is not a team built around Ben Simmons because Claxton clogs the floor. I will admit, everybody else is a decent three-point shooter. So if you want to have Simmons at the center, but like I said, Claxton is a depoy front runner. That's my main problem with this team is Simmons and Claxton I don't think fit well together. And I would rather see Simmons surrounded by three-point shooters. Like I said, I want Claxton in three-point shooters because Claxton can't shoot the three. He also can't shoot free throws, but that's another point. I did have wrote down, they do have 2 picks this year. ESPN is not updated. The ESPN and Fanspo have not updated, but it did not say they had any picks 2024 through 26 It just had 6 second rounders listed, but I know for sure they got a Phoenix 2024 and a 2026. So this league is ever changing. Those picks might be valuable, but guess what? Their picks that they don't have, that they gave up for Harden, are also valuable. So they're kind of screwed regardless. And then they do have a Philly pick in 2027, their own in 28, and of course the 2029 pick they got for Kyrie. So from my opinion, from the Brooklyn side of things, they wanted a lot more for KD. They didn't get it, and that bothers me for them because, like I said, they set this high asking price. They got nowhere really near it, but they got Mikal. I guess that's kind of the end of things. Also, I will admit, I'm looking at my list in the lineup. I don't think I said Mikal, so I do apologize. Now, from the Phoenix point of things, they have to hope and pray that these three, their big three, stay healthy. Because if not, this is going to go down terribly. Because I've got, again, there are 10 guys wrote down. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Torrey Craig, DeAndre Ayton, Cam Payne, Landry Shamet, TJ Warren, Josh Okogie, Dario Saric, Bismack Biyombo. So, hypothetically, Chris Paul and Kevin Durant are the old O word. They're old. Devin Booker, very good, very young, has been loyal to Phoenix, and they have rewarded him greatly. So now, the problem is they have to stay healthy. That is the main problem. Other than that, I think defensively they're kind of screwed because Ayton can get done up sometimes. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant are not masterful defensive players, and Phoenix pretty much has been relying on Mikal Bridges for their defense, and guess what? Mikal's not there anymore. So maybe that's Torrey Craig's job, but are we really going to be dependent on Torrey Craig doing that? I don't really know. And their bench sucks. And guess what? We've had to see a lot of their bench this year because Devin Booker's been in and out of the lineup. Chris Paul's been in and out of the lineup. DeAndre Ayton kind of out of the three haven't. Just like I said, they have to hope and pray they do not get hurt. If not, who knows? I need to look up. The one thing I forgot to do is look up the West standings. So, for the Phoenix point of things, I think you do this trade 10 days out of 10. Or 7 days out of 10. 10 days out of 10 kind of sounds stupid. So, I'm not really... And if y'all hear rain, it's raining. It's probably a sign of things. So, right now, Phoenix is 5th. But they have 26 losses. And if they lose, they would have 27. The Clippers and Pelicans, like I said, the West is effing crazy right now. Because they could just fall. They could be in the play-in. They need a lot to go right. The West is crazy. Like, the Nuggets, I think the Nuggets are the only, and I know I'm going to get to one more point in a second about my Memphis Grizzlies, but the Nuggets, I feel, are the only team that are actually fine in the West. Just because Jokic is very reliable, and any guy that is on their team, he sets up and makes better. Now, I know they just had to go 2 years without Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. is in and out of the lineup, but it's just like the way they've been playing this year, I think they're generally fine in the West. And they're apparently trading Bones Highland because he does not get along with Mike Malone. So I feel they will get something of value for Bones Highland that will help their bench and or their start lineup if Tom needs it. So I feel the Nuggets are the only team fine in the West. Going back to Phoenix, this definitely is good because, like I said, the West was really anybody's because the way the East has been talked about and done about is pretty much Milwaukee, Boston, possibly Philadelphia, possibly Cleveland. Who really knows? This has been a crazy trade deadline. I imagine those teams do something. They have to. In the West now, any team that is anybody should do something. And this is the last part. So I want to finish the Phoenix part of this video. Like I said, I think you do this trade every day of the week. You just got to hope your guys stay healthy. You got to hope the buyout market is great and lit so that you can get other players. But it's just like in the offseason, you got to hope you don't have a dud of an offseason because almost everybody they signed has been kind of mid, in my opinion. So that is that. So Phoenix, good for them. I'm definitely very salty Phoenix got him. I'm definitely very salty they got him for only 4 picks and a great player. because I feel a lot of teams could have offered that and could have offered a lot more, but Brooklyn settled. And so the last part of this video I want to talk about is my favorite team. If you didn't know, is the Memphis Grizzlies. Again, like I said, I'm salty that the Grizzlies didn't get Kevin Durant because there was never really any rumors that KD was going to Memphis, because in the offseason he said Phoenix or Miami. And Memphis, a lot of people were pushing for it. I was personally pushing. I was pushing for Kevin Durant to go to Memphis before the playoffs even happened. I want that to be known because I saw the writing on the wall. I knew Brooklyn, something was up, and I thought we can get KD for nothing. And guess what? It didn't happen. It happened for another team. That's what bothers me. So, for Memphis, we have to do something. And I say we because I watch every Grizzlies game. I go through the same anger that these players go through. I can't say that. I don't go through the pain they go through. I go through the same anger they do. And I put way too much time and effort into caring about this team. So yes, it is we. I am speaking for the Grizzlies. So we have to do something. What it is, I don't know. I really like OG Anunoby. I will admit, before I started filming this, because like I said, I was trying to film this 5-6 times. The last time I tried to film it, OG Anunoby's name popped up in a tweet from Woj, and I was like, crap, please don't let anybody else get him but us. But it was saying that the Raptors are going to the wire to the OG because there are a lot of teams calling, because he's apparently the biggest name out there, which is actually kind of nuts to me. Because here's Kevin Durant, top 10, top 15, top 20 all-time player. OG Anunoby, he's not that. He's a great defensive player. A lot. He was, like, in the beginning of the season, a crazy defensive player. And we just haven't really heard much of it because he's been hurt the past couple weeks. So, what you see, this is my problem. KD went for 4 first-round picks. And allegedly, a couple weeks ago, a team offered 3 picks for OG. Also, I'm pretty sure Rudy Gobert went for 5 freaking picks and 4 players. This league is very broken at the moment. Because, again, like I said, top 20 player all time got traded for nothing but Mikal Bridges, in my opinion. Like I said, I think the picks will be valuable at some point just because I don't see Phoenix being able to do much because of defensive problems and injury problems. So, I'm definitely triggered by that. But, like I said, for the Memphis stand of things, who is out there? Who is out there? OG. I'd be mad if we have to give up 3 picks for OG. Because we could have gave up, I would have been 110% okay. We could have up 4 picks and players for Kevin Durant. And I will admit, I don't really want to give up any players off the top of my head. Dylan Brooks. But it's just like, if we're giving up a lot of picks, we could have gave it up for Kevin Durant. That is the whole moral of the story. If we're giving up a lot now to get any, like I said, this trade deadline, I don't know who's out there. Is a DeMar DeRozan out there? The last thing I heard is that Chicago wants to stay the same. They're not getting rid of their core players. But I'd be all right giving up 2 to 3 picks for DeMar. I like DeMar. OG, like I said, he's not a superstar talent. He's a star talent and has key roles and fits Memphis greatly, but is he worth 3 first? No, because Kevin Durant was only worth 4. That's my main problem with this now, is that Memphis, I feel, could have offered something. But, that being said, we have to do something, because all these other teams, besides Sacramento, that are high in the West standings, are at freaking, what's the word I'm looking for? Experienced. I'm going to say advanced. Experienced. Right now, Memphis is second. We have a 2-game advantage over Sacramento, which, like I just said, every other team besides, all right, Nuggets are experienced. Mavericks, again, I think the Mavericks are kind of screwed. Because, look, hypothetically, Luka and Kyrie on paper should be a great duo. It's just, I feel it's going to be a word that's followed Kyrie for a while, a conundrum. So, but on paper, you can't guard both of them at once, and they're probably going to be on the court together almost at all times. Phoenix, again, I think KD and D Book are just like how I just said with Luka and Kyrie. But you're going to have to make them pay defensively. The Clippers, I would hate to run into the Clippers. Kawhi's going to lock us up. Hopefully, we get way off P and not playoff P. The Pelicans, great. the Pelicans have been all year because they started off hot. They've kind of been bad because Zon's been out and Brandon Ingram just came back. Minnesota, we struggle against for some reason. I don't really know. Funny enough, we play Minnesota Friday. And then our sworn enemies, the Warriors, who, again, I think on paper we are better than. But, again, these two games that we played them this season, we lost. We lost. That's the best way to put it. I'm not going to say we got screwed, but I felt we're too worried about that matchup and we lost. That being said, who is out there for the Grizzlies? Because like I said, I'm a Grizzlies fan, and this is why I saved this for the end of the video, and hopefully we do something. But the way this front office has worked the past couple years, they make their trades in the off season, and when they make the trades, it's like, why did we do that? And then it works out, except for this also. Because, like, let's look. Off the top of my head, the only trade that has happened with this franchise in the new regime, I'll say since Ja's been there, that had happened during the season, was the Jay Crowder for Justice Winslow trade. So, which was Jay Crowder, Iguodala, and, oh my God, Solomon Hill for Justice Winslow, Dion Waiters, and it's going to bother me because I see him I don't remember the other guy. It might have been James Johnson. I think it was James Johnson. And we only kept Justice Winslow. He played half of the season. I like Justice Winslow. A lot of Grizzlies fans don't. He was not good for us. That's the moral of that story. So, I would love it if I wake up tomorrow and the Grizzlies traded for DeMar DeRozan. That way we got a star. And hopefully we didn't give up anything to get DeMar DeRozan. And like I said, I'm trying to look at names. I think, again, we've been linked to OG Anunoby for the past 2 to 3 weeks. It's been us in New Orleans and the Knicks. And the thing is, look, I'm very glad that Woj tweeted that OG Anunoby's name is going to be in trade talks until the end of the deadline. Because when I saw the Raptors are trading for Jakob Poeltl, I'm like, they're not going to trade anybody. They're going to try to compete because they just got Jakob Poeltl. They're not going to try to rebuild or suck. They're trading for Jakob Poeltl, who's an upgrade for their team. So, if it was a perfect world, we would trade Dylan Brooks, Danny Green. I love Zaire, and I'm willing to give up 2 to 3 picks. 2 picks, 3 picks for Gary Trent Jr. and OG Anunoby. And that's why I said I only threw in Dylan in that deal to make the money work. And I don't even think the money works because OG and Gary almost make 20 each. And then Danny makes 10, and Dylan makes about 15. So the money might have worked. I don't really know. Let me put this in a trade machine real quick. Trade. And I'm going to do it without picks. That would be the pick. That would help us. Because then we would be Ja, Desmond, OG, Jaren. OG and Jaren together defensively makes me... Like, that's a good thing. Steve-O, get back soon because we need your rebounding so much. Tyus, Gary. Then we have Roddy or Laravia, who I want either... Because right now they are not getting any minutes. And either one of them can get minutes. Because I think Roddy is better defensively than Laravia, but Laravia is better offensively. So whichever we would need. Santi, who I love Santi, and Brandon Clark. We also keep Xavier. So in our backup roles, we have Chandler, my guy Jitty, untradeable, and Tillman, who, if one of these main guys go out, not one of the main guys. One of the bench guys goes out, I'm all right with those 3 replacing them. So that's why I want Danny. I like Danny. Dylan. Again, a lot of Grizzlies fans are iffy on Dylan. Some love him, some hate him. I don't hate Dylan. The only thing I hate about Dylan is Game 4 against the Warriors, shooting a million shots that you didn't have to shoot. So, if we get rid of him, it would be an upgrade. If we kept him, it would make the teammates happy, and he does do great defensively. So, I'm on ESPN's trade machine. So, hypothetically, like I said, OG and Gary for Dylan, Danny, and Zaire. Which, like I said, I love all 3 of those Grizzlies. But we're getting an upgrade. So, money-wise, it does not work. We have to add $2 million. Vince Williams does not make $2 million. This might not be reliable because it says Tyus Jones makes $1 million, which I know that is fake. So if I have to throw in Laravia, I am fine. If they give us Juan Hernan Gomez, who is Bo Cruz, I think that would be fine. So money-wise, it still does not work. We have to, all right, they being too legit. We got to cut $29,000. You get the point. We need to do something. We have to do something. We're not fine anymore. We are too young. All these other teams are way more experienced than us, and we have won 2 of our last 10 games, I believe, because we were on a 5-game losing streak. We beat the Pacers, and we beat the Bulls. We lost to the Raptors, which we should not have lost. You should have talked about getting OG then and there, which, again, I'm also glad that we didn't give up like 3 picks for OG, and then KD went for 4 picks, and then I would have been really mad about that. I will admit that. So, more of the story. This is the end of the video. I imagine there will be a part 2 to this because this trade deadline is already. This has definitely been the craziest one. No way in hell I expected Kevin Durant to get traded at midnight on a Wednesday. It might have been like 11:30, midnight, regardless, and I'd be so bad about the trade. Bad about the trade. So, again, I know I was talking fast. I threw a lot at y'all. I had a lot to get off my chest. So, if you watched all the way to the end of the video, here's what I want you to learn. I feel Phoenix, they won this trade because they got the guy they wanted without giving up a whole. They gave up 4 picks, which allegedly Brooklyn wanted a lot more. So I think they won in that aspect. Brooklyn needs to find a direction to go into. Like I said, I think that direction needs to be like the 2018-19 Brooklyn Nets, where they're just off vibes. They're not trying to do too much. And maybe they get a star to come there. Maybe they get a less controversial, less headache of a star to go there if they clear up the money. Because like I said, they have a lot of expiring people that they need to trade that don't really fit their timeline. But they also, again, like I said, they have a lot of good players. So Brooklyn, I feel they kind of lost this deal because they could have got a lot more from other teams. And like I said, I'm a Grizzlies fan, so I gave my side of it. I kind of wish we would have got KD, but we have to do something because the West is way more crazier. So, like I said, y'all will see me again if this video is uploaded, you will see me again real soon. If you watched all 27 minutes, thank you. I really doubt you did. So thank you, and I'll see you later.